Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. 4 things on the list today. Number 1 and number 2 are left over from Friday. The art is in knowing when to say what. So, greetings, Amber. How you doing? When I grew up, it was very important in my family to understand the word discretion. And discretion meant just because you knew something didn't mean you said something. And my number 1, the art in teaching Pilates is knowing when to say what. And a lot I'm talking about your client is moving and the words that come out of your mouth have to arrive early enough for them to process it before the movement comes into play, right? And then I made my title longer and then cut it back because the art is in knowing when to say what and when to say nothing at all, right? Discretion. Or just because nothing at all is the thing to be said or not said, because your client has dove into their own concentration, right? And your words after that are going to distract them until they come out of that. Unless your words, you're talking while they're trying to dive. So as a Pilates instructor or a politician, I don't mean to bring politics into it, but or family affairs, right? Discretion, knowing when to say what. And as a Pilates instructor, that's taking into consideration the processing time that your student needs in order to have what you say come into play. Number 2, it's the way you get there. And, well, okay, that's nice, but what way and where are you trying to get to? Well, this is about Pilates and being a Pilates instructor. Well, the way you get there is through uniform engagement, right? You know this. Because Joe writes, contrology develops the body uniformly. That's the means in which you get there. That's the way you get there. Now, the there that I'm talking about, because there's a whole lot of there that you get to when you pursue Pilates and you go after uniform engagement. But the there that I'm talking about in this case is where do you get to when you engage your body uniformly? You get to a uniformly developed body. That's the there that you get to. So in the past, I've always talked about Joe's promise and then Joe's definition and then Joe's promise. And the promise, like a wedding ring, being a statement, contrology develops the body uniformly. As the promise. That's the promise, but really the statement is that's how you do it, and what you get out of it is the uniformly developed body, is the Pilates body that a lot of people used to talk about as wanting to have and being an objective. But it seems that that's a rather refined goal in the pursuit of Pilates, and yet is the only one that focuses on the uniform engagement to get the uniform development. Where do you get there? I had a page of backup notes to my titles, but oh, there they are. All right, so uniform engagement begets uniform development. You get a Pilates body by uniform engagement. And that's where core new tension comes into play. So Amber, do you know the definition of core new tension? You know, 4 words. 4 words. If you're going to memorize something and nothing about Pilates, just remember memorize the 4 words that define core new tension. Oppositional rotation between axes. So there's rotation at this axis and there's rotation at this axis, but they're rotating in different directions. And in doing so, created tension between them in that. That makes sense, right? The same is true of shoulders and ears, between there. It's harder between knees and ankles and metatarsals because bones directly connect all of those. But between here and here and here and here, it's just the spine at some point and musculature. And it's the skeletal structure that supports the muscular engagement. So, number three, it's a unique vision of Pilates. And I rarely use the word vision because it's a point of view. And really, everybody has a point of view because that's all that Pilates ever has been considered to be. And a point of view based on tradition and who knew Joe and lineage and generation and that way of organization. Manipulation, intimidation, obfuscation, a lot of shun words. MMP is just one view out of the 10,000 that come from just the word. And it's unique. Please don't say very unique, because unique means one of a kind. So qualifying it as very is a substandard use of the word. And so why is MMP unique? You know this, right? Because it's a theory based on what's in Joe's book, that there's an ideal within the original work. And that theory of an ideal turns sensational, that you can feel it. All I can do is put it out there, and by doing it in a recording, I do it live, but there's recording, right? And so I suspect that the closer we get to the year 4040, the more core new tension will be obvious in biomechanics. Oh, come on. If you can point to something theoretically that's sensationally obvious, that will eventually lead the intellectual pursuit of putting numbers to knowledge. Gain through sensation, or aware of through sensation. Right? If you know anything at all about presentation, and you made me think now of what I've already learned from you about calling people up and saying, what do you want in this presentation? But see, I know what I want in the presentation. So Amber, have you heard this yet? I have a sticker that I will show you for $1. If the person doesn't want to see the sticker, there's no need to show it, and yet you've established a relationship monetarily by offering to see something that or know something that someone doesn't see or know for a price. And that alone, the statement alone, establishes the relationship of someone having to sell something if someone's interested in it. It's like a way of qualifying the person you're talking to as a customer or not. Because I have something to sell. I've been selling something for a long time. I've been selling this point of view that coordinating tension is just real, it's factual. And that part of, see, Amber, can you believe it's only 2019? I mean, it is 2019, and most of the world out there, the millions of people that are doing Pilates, have no idea that the word core or powerhouse literally refers to a grip that the human body is capable of at the hips, engages in at the hips. That's factual, that's literal. And that in so doing, in being able to rotate at the hips, there's other capacity within the human body to rotate at different axes, and that those axes interact with each other to create tension between those axes that makes alignment sensational. So my number 4 is feed the field. And I talked earlier in past broadcasts, but recently, about if Pilates, as Michael Miller Pilates has a point of view of Pilates as an ideal. Okay? And in looking at it as an ideal, I'm losing track of where I'm going in my head. Oh, I talked about how ideals or ideas can be considered fields. That's a physics term, but it's like farm fields. And once it's a field, it's like available to everybody, or the more the field exists, the more available it is to everyone. And see, that's where I have this view of Joseph Pilates, the human being, making a gift to all of humanity directly through the performance of his choreography. In the pursuit of his definition. Margaret Wheatley is the book I was referring to. The Organization of Structures or something. It's an old book. But she talked about, organizational structures or an idea within the organization. And that idea can be a field. And the field can communicate beyond those that created it and contribute to it. So what I'm saying is, feed the field of an ideal point of view of Pilates. Know that it's unique. Know that it's transcendent, because it goes out of tradition and goes into a logical explanation based on the evidence within Joe's book. And I was waxing on Joe, direct gift to humanity, and that gift is a response to reality, trying to survive in a conditioning choreography that is sculpted by the reality you're trying to survive in. It's not like Joe's total genius or he made stuff up or this was what he did in his day and he would have changed it by now. He never changed the sequence of his mat on his own documentation over a 40-year period of his career. So Pilates for me is a poem, it's the choreography, it's in the pursuit of that poem that you seek to survive in the reality that you find yourself in. And the unique world of MMP, if nowhere else. And I'm sure it exists like a lot of places under a lot of names, but there's a lot of places where it's the complete coordination of body, mind, and more mind without any discernment, distinction, or appreciation from the Michael Miller point of view that spirit is pointing to a capacity in the human being of observing. And it's the being, thinking, and observing that you pursue the complete coordination of. And the magic is in the observing, and the intellectual control is in being able to anticipate what comes next. Because when you watch someone doing the mat on a social media, and you watch the order of the exercises, and to the extent that it matches the order that you expect, there's some sense of control in that because of your anticipation and the manifestation of the reality that you anticipated. Is that too deep? But that's why spaced repetition and letting a person, hear something, see something go by, and then waiting and then letting it come around again. That is so critical to taking your student into a deeper level of control, because until they're familiar with something, they can't engage it in a deeper, more meaningful way. Do you agree with that, Daniela? You take great pictures. Thank you for sharing those. For me, it's fabulous that you're here and helping feed the field. So Daniela, I was on number 4, feed the field. Briefly, the art is in knowing when to say what, and a lot of that time is knowing when to say nothing. As an instructor, the timing of your words, how long it takes for your student to process them, and practically speaking, they're going in and out of the reformer. And you say, pick anywhere in the cycle, and say, okay, stop on the next one. And different people take different time to hear you and process, and then what becomes the next cycle. But by observing as the instructor, the timing of processing on how long it takes them to process what you say into their movement gives you an ability then to be more precise how you stand in the jump rope with your student to make your cueing be most effective in the timing of things. And then when I said it's the way you get there, I'm again talking about Joe's statement, contrology develops the body uniformly, and it's all about uniform engagement that gives you uniform development. And so that's the way. The way is uniform engagement, and the there that you're trying to get to is uniform development. And that used to be called the Pilates body. And you could pick them out in a crowd walking down the street. And believe it or not, you still can. Number 3 was a unique vision of Pilates, and that's MMP. Michael Miller Pilates is one point of view out of 10,000. Just a point of view. And that's all anyone has, 10,000, 1,000 views. Because all that Pilates is, mostly now, is made up of either historical reenactment or approbation by another discipline without any acknowledgement of Pilates having an essence of its own. See, and that's MMP. MMCP says Pilates has an essence of its own. And if you're willing just to read Joe's words and pursue his choreography, you find the feeling, you find the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. That's me, that's MMP. And that's me trying to feed the field. That's number 4. Feed the field. Know that this image that points to biomechanics applies to all humanity. Every person. Applies to every person. They may be comatose and not be able to engage any of those biomechanics to move, but every person has rotational capacity at those endpoints. And that's a nomenclature word from me, right? Endpoints, endpoint, endpoint, endpoint. And what's an endpoint? It's the end of an axis. It's like looking at an axis right down the end of it. At the end of the axis, that's the endpoint. And so the body is not paper thin, the body has width, but the axis that goes through it at your body has an endpoint. Those are endpoints. When the tsunami of Pilates passion comes higher and gets more intense, when the diversity continues to astonish and horrify and impress and make you wonder how Pilates, does Pilates have anything of its own to it? Well, there's at least one point of view that paints an ideal from Joe's book. Welcome, Bobby. There's at least one point of view that paints an ideal from Joe's book. So, Bobby, courageous is one thing, timing is another, because I like to think that in following the passion that drives me to this broadcast over the last 949 days, just the weekdays of that time period, of all that time, all I want to do is consistently reinforce for you a way to make money to survive with this point of view. And you may be rich and money may not matter, but for the people where money matters and they're still trying to be Pilates instructors, this is one point of view that I extend for value. I have a sticker in my pocket. I'll show you for $1. Not in my pocket because that sounds gross. But I have a sticker. I'll show you for $1. No interest? Fine then. The stuff I have to show you, if I'm walking in your studio, I'm there to make money. If I'm going to leave the opportunity of talking to you for free around the world, it's because I need to go out and pay for my increase in rent. It's because I need to go out and see what it's like trying to make money selling a point of view as a presentation. And really, see, it's not a presentation, it's an explanation. It's a gondola ride from the bottom of the mountain to the top to look around and then come back down. I'm headed out to offer a gondola ride, to see a point of view that is unique. Life can't live forever. Sort your stuff while you can. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Appreciate perspectives. This point of view that I'm sharing with you is transcendent. It doesn't fit into the normal way you look at Pilates. So I have a sticker I can show you for $1. I have a point of view of Pilates that I can show you for $1,000. Don't care about Pilates. I have something unknown about in the common, conventional, contemporary world, in the masses, called core nutention, that applies to every person biomechanically. If you don't care anything about Pilates, but maybe you do yoga, maybe you do martial arts, or diving, athletic diving into a pool, or gymnastics. All of that is about control of your movement through space, and all of that movement is controlled by the biology you have and the physics that you're in, and understanding how the biology accomplishes the physics, which by and large the Pilates culture has no interest in or doesn't want to know. Thank you for listening, because life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain. I've done this before. Because right after see behind the curtain is appreciate perspective, and know that this point of view, to me, isn't just one guy's view of Pilates. And he's excuse me. It isn't just, see, Bobby, you've never met me, but some of my viewers today have. And Amber, if you're still here, we've worked together. I'm trying to say, look past the messenger and see the message. And it's a twofold message, one about biomechanics and one about one point of view out of millions on Pilates. And the biomechanics is way ahead of its time. And the point of view of Pilates, likewise, is way ahead of its time, and probably will come after the acknowledgement of biomechanics in core nutention. Know what you know. See? Know what you know. And then everyone watching will be better at presenting it in their own Pilates, because I'm not very good at it. But you knowing about CT and MMP, Bruce Lee, if you know who he is, wrote a book, and in one of his books, he writes that many people know me. He was present tense. Many people know me, but just because they know me doesn't know that they get what I'm talking about. Stands to reason, right? And so many people know me, and for whatever justified reasons they have for their opinion of me, to dismiss the message. If you want to survive for the next 10 or 20 years as a Pilates instructor, then I would want to know I would want a point of view that is based on right out of Joe's book, right into sensation, that creates a relationship with the creator of the method and me as a student directly, and that I then empower my student to have a relationship with the creator of the method directly as well. Whatever else they learn, and however nuances they get on performance, or archives in the attic. Once you understand there's an ideal that it's all emanating from, then the allure of some mysterious cult-like material that nobody else knows about, it's fine if you want to participate in that and turn around and make the same kind of claims. But from my point of view, I'm here to let you know that there's people all around the world that understand core new tension and the ideal point of view within MMP. Make friends with my friends on Facebook. I encourage you to do that. And if it's not just randomly, at least see anything I posted on my feed that you liked. Make friends with the people that liked it too. Because life can't live forever. And that moment doesn't announce itself. Usually, right? Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Appreciate perspective. Add 2 and 2. And I have a sticker I'll show you for $10. Direct your thinking. Geist.